It reminds me of Africa. Okay, so it is a great day. We're going to be having some guests today, as usual, and today we're going to talk to some models that have been a part of the Black experience in America for years. And I really like this special edition today because these models were not necessarily born in America. They're kind of like me. They came here and they enhanced the experience of that we have. So we're going to talk to them in just a minute. So we're gonna give everybody a minute or two to join. People are fashionably late. It's FashionNXT, so I wouldn't expect anything less but a couple late people joining the party. Okay, tell your friends to tell their friends to come to this conversation because we're talking about the Black experience, baby. Okay, so you don't want to miss it. So share it. We're gonna again wait about 30 minutes. No, 30 seconds. Sorry, we don't have 30 minutes. I want to say hi to everybody. We're gonna have Ismahan in the building today in just a few minutes. We're going to have Adilson in the building. Two great models that graced the stage of FashionNXT and that have been, a part of the community. And so, very, very excited. Before we get started, what have you done today? How have you used your voice today? Okay? How have you used your voice yesterday? What have you done? Share it in the comments. What have you done to be a part of this movement? Have you been sitting silent? Or have you posted a couple of things? Or have you marched in a protest? What have you done? Because it's important to do something, okay? It's important to know that you're going to be a part of the change, okay? This is a big change that's happening. You don't want to be left behind. You want to be a part of it. So I wanted to give you guys, before we invite Ismahan to the building, wanted to share some. Okay, we're at the beach and some people are playing loud music. It's okay, but I wanted to share some really, really, really really important experience that I've had because I recently, was a part of a march and a protest downtown in front of the federal building, and I know it's crazy. You hear a lot of stuff happening in the news of how Portland is crazy and how the people are burning everything down but have you checked it out yourself? Have you been downtown Portland lately? I'm going to tell you, I have. And it was nothing like what the news were talking about. It was actually a life-changing experience for me to be a part of what I was witnessing. It was harmony. It was people that were standing up for injustice because injustice is not right and we will not stand for it any longer. It was people getting educated. Shout out to my friend Seneca, the product, who was leading one of those protests a few nights ago, and we've been protesting downtown. They've been protesting downtown for over 2 months straight, every single night. So don't necessarily believe everything you see. Okay, go out there, put on your mask. Everybody had a mask on, and put your mask on and go downtown in the middle of a few hundred people, sometimes more, and check out the atmosphere. Like, it is nothing like I've ever experienced before. And it feels good to be a part of the change, not just witness on the sidelines. So just wanted to start by saying, use your voice today. Use your voice today, not yesterday. Use your voice. Your voice is important. If you don't use it, somebody else will. If you sit down and don't say anything, somebody will take the fact that you're sitting down and you're not saying anything as a form of support for what they support. So what do you support? Because you can't sit down and do nothing anymore. So on that note, we're going to invite our first guest. And our first guest is Ismahan. Ismahan is a model. She's awesome. I want you guys to feel like this is a family. Feel ready to answer some questions. So it's pretty interesting to get somebody now that is a model. What's up, Ismahan? Looking fabulous. Look at your background. Ooh.
Twitter.
What kind of background is that? What kind of filter is this?
It's not a background. It's a sparkling lights or whatever you call them. They're water.
Girl, that TikTok filter looks great. I'm just saying. So welcome, Ismahan. Welcome to the Black Experience. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from, Ismahan? Because I'm really excited about having you here because I'm from West Africa, and being in Portland, Oregon, I've met a lot of people like me. So sometimes can be a little isolating. So I wanted to know where you're from.
I feel you. So I'm ethnically Somali.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from East Africa, but I grew up in Minneapolis. I was born in Texas, but I grew up in Minneapolis. Oh yeah, I feel you. I feel like Minneapolis has a lot of Somalis. I was always surrounded by people who look like me. So when I moved to the Pacific Northwest, that was my first experience, like not having that around me who looked like me.
Right. Okay. Wow, you brought two very unique points already. You're originally from you're Somalian originally, and you grew up in Minnesota.
I did. Minnesota, like Somalis.
Yeah, Minnesota. I have a lot of friends that are Somalis, and I know Minnesota is a big hub. A lot of people are Somalian are there. So, how was it growing up in Minnesota? Compare that to growing up to living in Portland. What was the culture shock? What was it like?
Well, so actually, I lived in Seattle. I was in Portland a lot for shows and whatnot, but I lived in Seattle. But yeah, living in Minneapolis, I always felt like I was at home. I never felt like an outsider. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the largest Somali population outside of Somalia. So like, I always like had Somali friends. Like there were some small Somali, so I felt very much part of my community. I felt together with other Somali American kids who share my community. Being raised in this country, and not necessarily knowing Somalia, but still being to Somalia. So when I came to Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, I had to like really make an effort. I felt like to find community, so that was a pretty big shock to me.
Mm-hmm. I can only imagine. I've been here since 2003. It's been 17 years. I sometimes still feel like an outsider because it is quite secluded here. There's different cliques, and you don't have that big population that that makes you feel like, hey, there's more people like me. It's okay, like you know what I mean. So how did you bridge that gap when you moved to Seattle to feel more part of the community, or maybe you haven't made that gap yet? Maybe you still feel that way because I know you're in Atlanta today, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I know Atlanta has a lot more people like us, so I'm sure it's a lot easier to feel, connected. But let me ask you this. What's the importance of feeling connected to people that necessarily, can understand your culture? Why is that important?
Ooh, that's important because to me, it makes me feel like I'm being seen. Sometimes when I'm navigating these spaces where I'm like the only Somali person or the only Black person, I feel like I have to represent something. I have to like constantly teach people. I maybe have to, sometimes in the past I had to make myself feel smaller because other people didn't understand me. But when I'm around people who are like me, I can like speak in my mother language. I can just like reference certain cultural things that people will just naturally understand. Like I don't have every little bit of me. So I feel like it's important to feel connected because I want to be seen as a whole person, like I want to be understood.
You know what? That's a great point. So do you feel like when you were in the Pacific Northwest, was there an extra pressure to maybe represent for the entire Black experience, or and by that I mean, you know what I mean, like because we don't see as many people of color, like was there a certain pressure to act a certain way, or do you just have you always been yourself? I'm just really want to know a little more about that.
Yeah, so I feel like once I got to Seattle, I noticed immediately like I didn't see as many Somalis as I saw in Minneapolis, but I noticed there's a larger West African community. Mm-hmm. So I going to like African Fashion Week and all these events. So I didn't necessarily feel like I had to change myself. I just felt like I was representing a different part of the same flag because I still put myself in these African and these Black spaces. You feel me?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like I had to change.
So that's a great transition, a great segue to talk about what we're talking about today. We're talking about the Black experience in America. And the cool thing about this conversation is that the experience is diverse. Like you from Somali descent, I'm from Senegalese descent. but we both also we have a dual black experience in America. Like we have a traditional African experience, but then we also have a black experience, and sometimes those two are the same, and sometimes it's completely different. You know, so what I'm trying to say is like when you said that you had to represent for a different uh, portion of the community, um, you know, as far as that's concerned, was that any different? Is there a lot of difference between your Somali American culture and your African American culture? Is it all the same? Or, I'm just trying to understand you better as a person,
Yeah. I feel like I'll start to interrogate the differences. Ooh, is this frozen? I don't know if you can see it.
I can see you. I can hear you, but it's a little frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Interrogate the differences between the two cultures. I feel like growing up Somali, I always acknowledge myself as Somali and as Black, so I never really separated the two until but I definitely think there's like global, similarities. Black, like common things that we can talk about, like, oh, our mothers raised us this way, or this is how we're, things that we can like talk about and share. But there also is naturally different things between us. I feel like that just adds to the beauty. I feel like it just adds to the beauty of who we are. Even like who were raised in like up north Minnesota where I grew up might have a different look who were raised down south.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Transitioning, I want to talk a little bit more about your model journey so far. What are some highlights that you want to share with us about your model journey, your career, where you're at today, and what kind of challenges you've had to face being who you are and how unique you are in this industry?
Yeah, so modeling for me was like a happy accident. I didn't like dream of being a model. I didn't like necessarily go into it intentionally. I just ended up like going to a show that my sister was doing, and I met a designer who wanted to work with me, and I was like, sure, I'll do it. Your clothes are great. And then I just did a couple shows for her, and then I model now. So I just kept going with it. As I went along with that, I found meaning in it for me. I feel like my first love bring concepts to life. So I found that modeling was just another medium, another outlet for me to tell stories and like discover different parts of art through this. So I feel like I haven't done that much in the last year, but definitely a highlight would be doing FashionNXT last year. That was my first big production experience, and yeah, that definitely like kind of put things into perspective. How it look and like that, just being in hustle and what fashion shows are produced. That made me want to like my own show.
Absolutely. So about FashionNXT and your experience, I think I saw you there because I was there last year. Amazing show, one of the most amazing fashion shows I've been to. What's one thing that was really memorable for you as a model, being a part of FashionNXT?
Ooh, just one thing. I mean, there were a lot of great things. I feel like a highlight was meeting other Black designers and Black models alongside other Black people who had their own life experience, like our own life journeys outside of modeling, and how we came to modeling, how we found it. We just found camaraderie and sisterhood with each other. So that was my highlights.
Okay, so what would be one thing if you were to, change things in the future to make it better? Is there anything that you would change about the modeling industry right now, if you were in charge of it?
Change one thing about the modeling industry? That's a good question. I don't know if it's something that I would change, but I would say I would want to have more discussions about who's working behind the scenes.
Who's working what?
Who's working behind the scenes, like who's
Okay.
working, who the designers are, who models are, things like that. I feel like sometimes it's easy for us to talk about diversity, and we talk about Black faces and brown faces on these board meetings, on these important meetings, but sometimes Black people might not have the voice that they should have. They're not giving space to actually make change. So I would want to move beyond diversity as a talking point. It's so I would focus on.
I love that. Love that. So, what are we, as a closing question for you, what can we look forward to from Ismahan? What are you working on? You're in Atlanta. Are we getting to see you soon in Portland? Are you, what's the future for you past COVID?
So right now, I'm just working on building a portfolio. So I take different photographs to work with different people, build my personal portfolio. But I'm also working on producing things with the production company I'm with, Dreamland. I also want to continue writing and working with other to expand on writing and just writing goals altogether. So hopefully hopefully I'll be in soon.
Well, hit me up when you're in Portland. I would love to work with you. I have a project that I did a couple years ago called Bambi, just showcasing the beautiful dark skin, people in the Pacific Northwest. And I wish I knew about you back then a few years ago when I started that. But I'm going to work on some new projects, and I would love to work with you on continuing to share the good message of Black is beautiful and the Black experience is diverse, and we want to showcase that.
For sure. I would love to work with you. We'll talk.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are awesome. We wish you the best on your journey, and thank you again.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. Hey, we had Ismahan in the building. She's awesome. She is a young lady with lots of great, amazing goals and a beautiful story to share. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to pull some questions up here. If you got a question for any of the two people, I know Ismahan just left, but we're gonna have Adilson in the building from Guinea-Bissau, and I'd love to hear about his experience. If you have some questions about him, let me know. I mean, I'm full of questions myself, but I need some help every now and then. You know what I mean? So we're gonna invite Adilson in the building. So let me find my guy. The beach. We're just hanging out. This is Oregon. And when the weather is nice in Oregon, you got to take advantage of it. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing today? Are you at the beach? Are you at home? Oh, no, the model is in the building. Come on, man. How you gonna make me look? You're gonna make me look so bad. Hey,
nah.
Go change your face, please.
Look, you look great.
Come on, man. I was looking great until you showed up, man. Okay, but we can.
Oh, really?
We can.
Look at me. No shit. I just get off the car. I'm sitting right here, looking at you. I mean, you look good, bro. Come on.
All right. I appreciate that.
I like the shade on the hair. You're always on top of it, man.
Thank you, man. You know what? This is what I like about the Black experience. It's kings recognizing kings. And, some people are like, what's right. King, blah, blah, blah. No, but it's like, hey, you know what? We make each other, feel good. And positive reaffirmation is a part of us growing together. We don't hate on each other. We make each other feel good,
We have to elevate each other somehow. We have to. I mean, we come a long way to let each other down, right?
Exactly.
We have to support each other the best way we can.
We got to. That's a great way to start our conversation. So we got Adilson. How do you say your name, man? Because you got I told you earlier, man. I don't want to butcher it because I'm gonna put my African accent on it. Look, I don't want to make it look bad.
It won't be the first time somebody. Like, don't feel bad. Trust me.
Okay.
I've heard in so many ways that I can't even explain to you right now. But you're saying that right. Adilson is the right way.
Adilson. All right.
So
I love it. I love it. So Adilson, man, I've seen you around the industry for a while now, and you're super cool guy.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, I mean, you speak Portuguese, right? You speak English.
Right. Oh, yeah.
What else do you speak, man? For all the ladies out there. Ladies.
Honestly, there's a little bit of everything in there, but I'm very fluent in Portuguese and Spanish, a little bit of French.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the
Portuguese and Spanish,
international man of mystery. So let's jump right into it, man, because when we talk about the Black experience in America, to me, again, this is why it's so important. Is because that experience is so diverse. Like, you got people like you that speak 1,050,000 5 languages. That
Right.
you're from Guinea-Bissau, but now you're in Portland, Oregon. And let me tell you what is the most popular question that I hate to answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Right.
Okay, when people ask me anything, the first thing they say is, "Why are you in Portland?" For you, you're in Seattle. Why are you in Seattle? Do you get that question a lot?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you end up there?
Well, here's the thing. The funny thing is that what makes that more interesting, the fact that I used to live in Hawaii, very tropical, high temperature, climate is almost 80 degrees every day. And when I tell people that, and that's when that question comes in, why Seattle? It's very important. It's family. Family is the number one for me. So whatever my family is, that's home for me. So I was living in Seattle and Hawaii, and my ex, things go different directions. And she moved back here with my daughter. Like I can't be away without her, so I decided to move to Seattle.
Family is very important.
Was the original destination from Africa. It was 6 months, and then I moved to Hawaii for 7 years. And then I'm back here in 2013.
Okay, so tell us about the Black experience for Adilson. So Adilson speaks many languages, so that means you can never be lost. Okay, that's the first thing I think about. Is no matter what, you can say where's the food in English, in Portuguese, and in French. Okay, so
almost in any language.
Almost in any language.
That's the easy part. Looking for food in any language.
any language. So, what was your experience when you moved from Guinea-Bissau to America? Was it a culture shock? If so, what was the most difficult thing for you coming here?
It's definitely culture shock. The best way to put it is really, it's different. It's different, the way we do things, the way America do things. Black life in America, Black life in Africa is hundreds of miles apart. So my life experience as a Black in America, my life experience as Black in Africa is completely different in any ways.
Okay, but you touched on something very special to me. Okay,
right.
Because I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
I know exactly what you mean, but I want people to know what it means. So, being Black in Africa and being Black in America, what is the difference?
Well, being Black in Africa, you grew up into the culture. You grew up into the system. You grew up into the environment that built based from the day you were born. Then America, being Black in America, is almost you have to live based on other people design environment. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference than me growing up and knowing that this is who I am. This is a life that's always going to be here for me, that I'm very comfortable with. And being here, I have to try to fit in. I have to try to do things that out of a normal life that I was born into and used to, that I was created from the people that belong the same place as me.
What is one of those things that you had to do to fit in America? Because again, this brings back my college days. I came here for college. Hey, I was like, I'm going to be an athlete. I go there and I want to be an athlete, but I don't quite fit in. I'm Black like them, but I didn't quite fit in for whatever reason. It was just a culture shock, like you're saying. But there's a lot that goes on with this. I just want to again share. It's a different Black experience. So I want to know for you, what was those things?
It's pretty much everything. Let me just start with the simple things, like for example, schooling. Schooling, I don't have to be accepted back home to go to school. I could choose the school I want to go, and I go right in. Sign in, they actually want me to be in. As a Black in America, you have to put on a face, you have to be something. You have to have a certain background. Somebody have to know you. Have to be part of some kind of whatever it is in order for you to be accepted in a school. It's just a school that's supposed to be for everyone, regardless of your background, where you're from, your color, or your height, or anything, or your ethnicity. That's one of the things. And just like you said, when I first came in here, I wanted to be a football player, but I couldn't fit in because 99% athletes were not black.
It's a very interesting experience, and I can empathize a million times with you, because I understand what you're saying, like 100%, and I appreciate you sharing that.
So it goes along the way. It comes to, and like I said, schooling, work. You know, I walk to the work to the business in my country where I come from, looking for a job. They're not going to give me a paper that says black or white or green. All it's going to say my name, my resume, whether I got a job or not.
Right.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference. I agree.
I go to the bank. The bank will not deny me my loan application because I'm a black and not be able to pay that loan back. My country, I got the job. I go to the bank. As long as I got to prove my work, that I can pay back, they will give me a loan based on my trust, based on the things that I tell to them. It depends.
Right.
Where do they see me to give me that money? But not in America. In America, my loan will be denied just because I'm black. My scholarship can be denied just because I'm black.
That's crazy.
I can't get in certain businesses, certain shops, certain stores. I've been told once in the airport, I walked to Gucci store. I was stuck right out the door. You can't get in because this is international. This is for high hand. I mean, this is the exact word that I got.
That's crazy. What airport is this?
Bro, it wasn't about Honolulu airport.
Wow, that's crazy.
I was shaking, looking at this person, and I just walk away, really, because I didn't think it was necessary to exchange the word back and forth.
You have to, and this is the extra pressure that as a black person you have to go through when you experience such injustice, and at that moment you want to fight that injustice so bad, but it's like you have to make a decision whether it is worth you getting into a world of trouble, you explaining yourself, what is going to happen, and that humility where you have to make yourself so small in that moment is a humility that not everybody can get, because it's really hard to experience something like this and not just say, you know what, you know what I mean? Especially if you're by yourself at that moment, right?
It is. It's hard. I mean, when I come here, before I come here, I thought of America different. Because we home, we follow the artists, movies, and those are the things. Some of us look America, think that's what America, but in reality, America is different. When you come here, you leave this life, and you know what America is. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's a great place. But the system that's built for a certain amount of people, it's just wrong.
Right.
It's just not built for some people.
I understand.
Especially But America is a great country, and I love being here. But I don't like the way the system, the way things are run, especially when it comes to racism and color people.
Well, let's talk about that. You are right on point, man. For my next question, there's a lot going on right now. Okay, how do you see what's happening right now? Do you think that what's happening right now is going to have a long-term impact on things changing for the better, or what do you think needs to happen more in order for things to change?
Well, it's very simple. What's happening right now, in order to have long-term impacts, we have to keep going. We can't stop now. And that's one of the things that I look into 2020 and say, you know what, this coronavirus is a bad thing as far as health, but it's also give people some time to reflect on the very important things. Because now everybody focus on this problem because people have so much time on their hand. There's not much distraction. A lot of people sitting home, not much work going on, not much sports, not much things that just distract us. Because as you know, there's multiple things that like this happened before, but it didn't have that much impact because everybody's busy. They gotta go to work. I don't have time to watch TV. I don't have time to look at this. I don't have time to go protest. But now people sitting home. So that's kind of vibe, that's kind of mentality we need to keep doing moving forward in order to keep this impact.
Absolutely.
But soon enough, all the distractions gonna hit us, and this is gonna go right underwater. That's my concern, really. But in order to keep it going, the impact for the long term, we just gotta keep moving. Tell the story, knock the door, reminding people who you are, reminding people who you are, reminding people the right things to do on a very, very casual way. There's a lot of time. It's not about the message itself, it's about how you deliver the message.
I agree. Now, my final question for you is this. We both know how, growing up in Africa, right, how much the fashion industry and the music industry and, you know, the entertainment industry has a huge influence on culture, on the direction of how things go. You know, those changes that you say are gonna last for a long time. Right. What would be your first decision? What needs to change in the fashion industry right now? Maybe nothing needs to change, but if there's something that needs to change, what is that one thing as Adilson, the model, the person that's been involved for years, what would you like to see change in the fashion industry?
Honestly, what I'd like to see change is models and everybody else except besides the companies that actually running the show to give more credit and respect to the models.
In what sense?
Well, as long as I've been doing this thing, the experience that I've seen is almost like the designers, the costume companies feel like we're hungry for that, so therefore they will do whatever they want. Like you do what they want. If you don't, you're out, regardless if you're comfortable or not. That type of respect. So it's basically like you're the one who want me, I don't want you. That has to change.
Right.
You know, there's kids go over there, we go over there with a passion. We love to do what we do, but we need some kind of respect. We need to, and plus, they need to start getting some benefits out of it, in a good sense. Like people want to do this for living. People want to do this for living.
Yeah, somebody said, hey, the pay should be equal first. So the person that said that was Toya M. Nelson. So the pay should be equal. Is there an imparity between the pay? Is there a disparity between the pay of African American models and other models?
Well, I honestly can't say that because I don't get to look into other people's contracts. I don't get to look. I don't get to know how they negotiate a contract to be on a business. But I do know that there could be a different way that people get treated on the backstage as far as everything else. I do know. I saw it, and I never experienced it, but I've seen it.
I agree.
I've been on the show. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying you're right. Just because you didn't experience it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So, you know, sometimes that's called a privilege, right? To not experience things firsthand, but like everybody else that's like you has experienced it. That's just, you know, that's a privilege that you haven't. And I've been in that position before.
Right.
But you know, it's also, you know, it's also important to see what could change so that we can all get in through this door, not just a few of us.
Yeah, it has to change in order to make our industry better. It has to change. I mean, I'm telling you, everybody that you've seen on this fashion industry have a passion somehow, a strong passion, including me, including all the other models. But that's to change, man. That's to change.
Absolutely.
People goes over there, they spend the time hours and hours. People will leave their work that they actually get the bills with
Paid
to
for.
be there, but then they get treated in certain ways. And you go home like, why the hell did I,
Why did I do that?
Why do I do that?
Right. I understand.
But it's a passion. So if that
Well,
changed, our industry could be way better than what it is right now.
I agree. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, man. What I'm gonna do personally is I can't have you look better than me, so I'm going to go do my sit-ups, the abs. Huh? I'm going to do some abs because I saw you on FashionNXT last year.
Listen,
like,
stop.
This guy is looking better than me now.
That's overrated, man. Yeah.
See me next fashion week, my
Look, I gotta say this, okay? You are the definition of a fashion. You are. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen you on the stage in the FashionNXT a couple years ago. I've seen you. So I know. I'm trying to be like you.
I appreciate that, man. Man, you know what? This is why I like talking to my kings, man. Kings and kings talking to each other. We only uplift each other. Again, that's the kind of energy we need out there. And I appreciate you very much, man. I'm glad that we got a chance to discuss your experience, like I hope you enjoy your day. You're in Seattle, right?
Yeah, I'm Seattle, yeah.
Hope you enjoy your day in Seattle. We really had a fantastic time getting to know you and Ismahan, and just wish you more success. What's one thing that you wish? What's one thing you're working on past COVID that we can look forward to from Adilson?
I work on some things. I'm planning to move to LA as soon as this COVID is over, because I do acting as well.
Nice.
So I'm working on my acting.
Very good.
Very good. So soon enough, I'll be finding my way down to LA.
Way to go,
man. Things that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, this COVID-19 can get out of the way soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know what? We wish you all the best. Again, blessings, my guy. Super, super, super great to talk to you.
Like they say in Senegal. Giorgio.
You know about that.
You didn't see that coming, huh?
I didn't see that coming. I didn't know people like you in my life, man. I'm going to start texting you, man. Okay? So, with that being said, man, thank you for sharing your story, man. We really appreciate you.
Anytime.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Cool.
All right.
Appreciate you too.
Right,
see you later, buddy. All right, peace. All right, everyone. So as a closing statement, we had Ismahan up here, incredible young lady, originally from Somalia, grew up in Minnesota. We had Adilson, like I told him, I'm going to do more apps because I got to look as good as him. And, he's got big goals as well. So we just appreciate everyone for joining. Keep sharing your story. We're going to keep doing this as long as you want to hear about it. There are a million stories out there. I'm telling you, America is a big place. America is made of all of us, and all of us are different. So don't assume that one person that looks like the other black person looks the same and act the same. We are different, okay? So keep checking us out. Thank you to FashionNXT for, again, allowing us to use that platform, talk about fashion, talk about